Something happens.
I'll keep that.
Okay.
Good start.
Something happens.
Oh, that's the one I'm used to. It's like.
No, but I have a phone, of course, because
Okay, ready?
yes.
1-1-2-0.
So thank you everyone for joining us. We're going to get started in a moment. We're just letting the television
Okay,
crew
wait.
set up.
Sorry, that's not it.
Go ahead.
Can't remember.
Are you good? We're all set and just flip the microphone on. Great.
Thank you.
Okay, good.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Lisa Garti Ogundimu, Deputy Commissioner for Child Welfare here at the New York State Office of Children and Family Services, and I want to thank you all for coming this morning and joining us for our Foster Care Awareness Month celebration. It's with a heavy heart that we start this morning, but I'm thankful for everyone taking the time to come, especially our honorees who have driven from great distances, and we'll hear more about that later, to be with us today. In child welfare, there is really no greater expression of the work that we do than looking at our foster parents who have selflessly, over many years, really opened their homes, their hearts to children that they don't know, children that they're related to, but to really take a moment that is filled with trauma and strife and create comfort, love, and warmth for children who are really going through a challenging moment. And not only the children, but for their parents as well. So it's with a humble heart that I say thank you for those that are here with us today, and those across the state who do this every single day. I don't want to take up too much of our time just talking, because I want you to hear from our foster parents, from our wonderful youth, to hear about their experience, and also for our team who has taken so much time to put this group together. Where's Kelly? Kelly, you have to stand up. Kelly Riley has been working on this. She has been working on this event. She came up with the hashtag one, oh my goodness. Do one thing. Shame on me. Do one thing. But I remember the hashtag is my one thing for the day. But Kelly came up with the hashtag. She invited our guests. She pulled us together. She was interviewed on Saturday as well. But Kelly is just, the embodiment of all of the hard work that everybody does every day on behalf of the children and families of the state of New York. So Kelly, I want to thank you for what you do, and everybody please enjoy this day. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce someone who does not need an introduction. Our wonderful leader, Commissioner Poole, who has always pushed us to do the very best, to be creative, to be bold, and not just do the same thing every day. We can do more for the children and families we serve, and Commissioner Poole pushes us to do that every day. Commissioner Poole.
Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. And we have an amazing program that is planned today, as Deputy Commissioner Gardi Ogundimu said, to really lift up awareness of the importance of Foster Care Awareness Month. But as Lisa also said, today we came to work, as I'm sure all of you woke up this morning still, with such a sense of sadness and outrage and fear about the horrific tragedy that took place this past weekend, right? 13 people in total, right, went to do their grocery shopping, and 10 of them, through a horrific act of racism and white supremacy, are now deceased. And I think we would be remiss if we didn't take a moment to honor, as we grieve the loss of those 10 individuals. And I'm quickly going to just read their names, and then we will move on to our event today. So in our thoughts and hearts, Kat, Pearl, Roberta, Ruth, Celestine, Hayward, Aaron, Geraldine, Andre, and Marcus. Thank you all. So now we're going to turn back to what brought us all here today, which is this amazing opportunity we have to lift up for everyone the amazing, heroic work and support of our foster families across New York State. I want to start by acknowledging you're all special guests today, but I believe we have Assemblyman Jake Ashby. Assemblyman?
I'm here on his behalf. I'm his constituent liaison here.
Great, thank you so much.
If he's able to get out of pre-committee quickly, he'll be here, so.
Thank you very, very much. So now to the real special guests. So I'd like to extend a really warm welcome to the Meisner family from Clifton Park. And the Meisners, I was introduced to them, told me they have been married for 49 years, or very soon will be. And guess how long they've been foster parents? 49 years, just 3 months after they were married. What amazing. And not only that, but they had time to invite cameras into their home to help create our wonderful video, which you'll all have the benefit of seeing in just a few minutes. We also want to welcome the Rice family. Where's the Rice family? As a foster family to Rensselaer County. They've been fostering for 10 years and have taken medically fragile children into their home, which requires such special skill to do. And they too were interviewed by Spectrum News just on Friday for a feature story and did a phenomenal job of educating our community about foster care. I also want to acknowledge the Albany Law School's Family Law Society. So they've taken it upon themselves to create these really terrific backpacks, specifically designed for older youth in foster care. So they've got gift cards, I'm sure masks and hand sanitizers, toiletries, gift cards, journals, to really help make sure that young people who are in foster care have a dignified way of caring about what is often very few personal belongings that they have. So we're very grateful to the Albany Law School. So as Lisa said, each year in May we acknowledge all of our foster parents. We have over 11,000 foster families in New York State, and as Lisa said too, right, you have this amazing dual role of caring for a child, or in many cases, several children. We always want to try and keep siblings together when they have been placed in foster care. But they also, right, reunification is always the goal. And so they've got that dual role, working with our local departments of social services and caseworkers as we try to do everything we can to return children to their biological families. So being able to provide loving care to that child or group of siblings in that moment, while knowing full well, right, that at some point in time, you will have done your job and those children would be returned to their parents, really does truly take special people. So we now have a new campaign, right? We know that foster families also need a lot of support, right? Juggling kids going to school and often raising their own children at the same time. So this campaign, Do One Thing New York, did I get that right? Yes? Do One Thing Right New York, is really intended to say to all of us across New York State, just one thing, to either support a foster family, right? Wouldn't you like a date night out after 49 years of foster parenting? Saying, we'll mow your lawn, Mr. Nicer, right? Or we will do something for the foster child that you have in your home, right? Helping with tutoring, taking them out, doing something special, just one thing. And that is our new public awareness campaign that we are launching today. So we want you to spread the word. We have an amazing program here today. I'm going to stop. The baby's telling me it's time, Commissioner, to sit down. And later, and I'm very excited, you're also going to hear from Cheyenne, who is a very special person to me as having lived experience in foster care. So without further ado, we're going to watch the inspiring video starring the Meisners and showcasing as well Cheyenne and her sharing her experience. So thank you all for joining us.
When you see a child come to you and their eyes are like saucers and they're scared to death of you and where they are, and I look at the girls and I see them today and they're wonderful human beings. 3 months after we got married, I wanted to do fostering.
Well, psychologically, both parties have to be ready, because it's not just, you're not just putting them up in their house.
I got into foster care when I was 9 originally. Then I was raised stayed with my parents for a few years, and then got back into foster care when I was 14, and I was there all the way until age 21. Foster youth are not these horrible kids. And these kids have trauma, and that is hard to understand because trauma is different for everyone.
Our goal as a foster parent is to try to reunite these families back together.
So they're having all kinds of various problems themselves, but they want to know that their child is being taken care of.
I was taken into the system at the age of 4 and did not get adopted until the age of 14. A perfect foster parent would be patient, understanding, trauma-informed.
You don't have to be married to take a child, to have a child. If you've never even raised a child, you can do it.
Even if they choose not to become foster parents, taking that extra step to ask, what can I do to support you and your foster kids and your foster family? Well, there's respite. You can be a home for a kid for a weekend.
We have had the best people just come knock on our door, and they brought us baskets filled with brand new clothing, baby bottles, diapers.
You could mentor. You could cook a meal for a foster parent's family, once a week. You could drive the youth to a basketball game or to a recreational activity. If you just do one thing, you're supporting foster care. You're supporting foster youth.
They can be whoever they want to be, but they need to be shown that they can.
Just doing one thing can make a big difference.
That's awesome.
So the video makes me think about a quote that always resonates with me when I come to work. We're still mourning the loss of bell hooks, but she told us that it is all about love. There is no justice without love. There is no moving ahead. We can't get to the big things that we want to do without starting with love. And the work, the life, the opening your homes, everything that you do starts with love, and we appreciate that. So with that, we want to hear from you, Cheyenne.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, hi everyone.
First, I want to say,
yes.
Cheyenne, let's congratulate Cheyenne. Cheyenne just graduated.
Yes, I'm definitely on that high of graduating. Grades are posted today, so we will see. But thank you for having me here. My name's Cheyenne Matulowicz, and I am a foster youth, young adult now 23. But I have some lived experience, and I have with me today my family, my siblings above there. Shout out! We have Rhiannon, we have Ryan, my twin brother, Tyler, Riley, and their foster mom, Emily, who is a really big, person in our lives. So this campaign is Do One Thing, New York. And even as a foster youth, I've been trying to do things to help foster care in a number of ways, even just being here today and speaking my truth, which is, not easy to do. Emily, could you stand up? So good. Come on, stand up. Good. Okay, so Emily, you're standing up. Okay. So Emily's she's part of my big story today because she's the foster parent to my 3 younger siblings, and she did one thing, just becoming a foster parent, which is a huge effort, right? It's not just one little thing. But I just wanted to thank Emily because she fell into our family. She only wanted to take in Riley first, and then she got 5 others. So thank you, Emily. I just wanted to speak on, Emily and my foster parent B, who her name's Tara Baresic. She's not here today, but it was a loving adult that really changed my trajectory for my life, and that's what it really, comes down to be. You don't have to be a foster parent. You don't have to be, even for respite. You don't have to be in social work, if you will. You just have to be a loving adult to the youth, regardless of foster care status, and you're changing their life, right? Don't cry, Rhiannon. If you cry, I'm gonna cry. So, B was my teacher. She's my ag teacher, and I call her B because her last name was too difficult to pronounce when I was an 11th grader, Baresic. So we all called her B, and she saw potential, and that's really what it took for her to come into my life and become a foster parent. And so, because of B and just having a loving adult in my life, I was able to do a lot more. And without those supports, and a lot of foster youth do not have, they're not allowed to do more. I'm only crying because they're crying, and you gotta stop crying. So I wanted to just, speak on doing one thing, and really, a lot of foster youth move around a lot, as we all know. And I think beyond just becoming a foster parent, you could donate, but not just money. I was gonna talk about things like donating suitcases. Because when you're moving around, typically you're moving around in garbage bags, to be real with you. So donating things to your local county DSS, donating your time, which honestly is way more meaningful than a suitcase, and becoming a mentor to that youth. Because without supportive adults, they're not going to realize their potential. They've been put down too much. They might not have a family to go back with. Reunification is not always possible, but it's definitely a goal, right? For my family, it was not possible. So being a foster parent that was able to be there for the long run was tremendous. And that, is a case-by-case scenario based on the foster parent's life story. So being a caring adult is really just what I wanted to share with you all. And the 2 caring adults for me was Emily and B, and my siblings are flourishing because of it. So do one thing. That's really it. Thank you.
Oh, good. So we wanted to give you this lovely plant aid to honor your graduation, your coming here and speaking today.
Yeah.
This is our one thing for you.
Thank you. I love
Oh, great, perfect. Now I'd like to introduce to you Glenda and Cal Walker. Mr. and Mrs. Walker are foster parents from the Ithaca, New York area. They've had more than 52 children in their home, all of whom have become family. So to hear from them about the opening of their home and the children that they brought into their lives is going to be an honor for all of us. So I don't want to waste any time. Mr. and Mrs. Walker, please do.
I thought my husband was going to come up and stand by me. But that's okay. It's okay. He can sit down for another 3 minutes.
My time will come.
I'd like to say it really is a pleasure to be here. And my husband is so diligent. I mean, he wrote out everything that he wanted to say. That is not me. So when I get to a point that I can't remember anything else, I'll sit down. But one thing I wanted to say is that I am the 3rd oldest of 7 siblings who was raised in a small town in North Carolina. And I was raised by a Baptist minister, and I now have 3 brothers who are ministers. But the fact is, I always loved children. My mother used to tell me, you need to stop always going up to people asking if you can hold their babies. Leave those little children alone. She said, I hope you'll be a mother one day. She said, but you need to just kind of cool that. And I wish my mother was alive so that she would see that her warning me to stop doing that was one thing I remember that she said wrong to me. Because we were blessed to I've given birth to 3 children. We raised five children in all. And then we have had, like I said, in excess of 52 children. And we are in touch with a lot of those kids that were in foster care. We have foster grandchildren, which to me I think is so cool. And when we first decided to become, we didn't decide to become foster parents. The fact is, I heard an ad on the radio about an informational meeting for foster care. And I had no idea what it was, but I remember mentioning to Cal, I thought I would go. And I went to the meeting, and they gave us a lot of information. Well, I came back home, and I shared it with him, but that was it. That was as far as it went. Within 2 to 3 weeks, I went away on vacation. I went for a class reunion. And Cal called me while I was away and said he had gotten a call that there was a boy in foster care that they wanted to place with us. And I'm thinking, but we don't have any training. We don't know what we're doing, you know. And it turns out it was a 12-year-old that he had been tutoring. And he had a relationship established with this little boy. And it was a situation where if there were, the only option was his coming to live with us or going to a detention center. And Cal went to court and heard the judge say that was gonna be the kid's alternative. And after our conversation, I said, okay, well, when I come home, I guess, you know, we'll do whatever. We don't even remember how it happened. But there was one person that came to our house every Saturday for probably 5 weeks for 2 or 3 hours on a Saturday morning that did our training. And I mean, she was amazing because, as you know, as foster parents, so if you don't know, you have to do so many credit hours of training every year as long as you are in foster care. So for us to have been thrown into it, and as she put it, we got our training, she said, we were baptized through fire. But it was something that we just kind of fell into, and we didn't look at it as being another job. To us, it turned out to be more of a ministry. And we have had children who had absolutely, they weren't the problems. You know, it was the parents who had the issues. And then we've had sibling groups. We had 6 kids at one time. We had, with those 6, there were 4 of them that came from Puerto Rico, whose second language was definitely English, because you know, it was a struggle. But we had more fun with that group of kids in the year that they were with us. And when they went back to Puerto Rico, I don't know who cried worse. I just had kids hanging all over me when we took them to the airport. But, and there was one boy that came to us when he was 10 years old. He had reactive attachment disorder. That kid stayed with us until he graduated from college with an associate's degree, and he is still in our lives. We actually ended up co-parenting him. And he is a father of 3 right now. And where the one thing I remember about him is when he would hug you, it was like hugging a stuffed animal. There was nothing there. And one day he hugged me, held on to me, and told me he loved me. And now I get those all the time. So I'm gonna tell him, it's enough. Just back home. But I mean, he's a sweet kid. He actually told me, he said, "You gonna tell them about your miracle child?" You know, I said, "I don't know, I might mention you. I might." But he is so sweet and tells me, you know, every time he sees me, several times, "I love you, England. I said, "I know you do, I know you do, I love you too." But it's just a phenomenal thing to be able to take kids into your home. You really don't know what the situation is gonna be. You don't know if you're gonna be able to inspire them in any way. You hope that you can. And it's been our joy to be foster parents. And because of health issues, this year we had to close our home. And we're not saying that it's permanent, but I just need to, you know, kind of take care of myself. But this system, there's room for improvement with everything that's out there. And because of the shortage in people that will step up to be foster parents, because of funding, you name it, there's always going to be issues. But there's always something that people can do. We have families, one family in particular around the corner from us who's gotten to know just about all of our foster kids. So when one comes to visit, we'll drop them off there, and you know, they'll come around to see that child. it's just a wonderful experience. And we love the way they interact with our grandchildren. You know, so we had one little girl that was with us Saturday for most of the day. And she was really heartbroken to find that she wouldn't be able to come back and live with us. But it's okay if she can come back and do overnights, you know, so she'll take that, you know. But like I said, it's a joy. It has been a joy for us to be foster parents. And I hope that other people will be a little more open to it and realize that the kids aren't bad. And it's not that the parents, I would say 99.5% of the parents who have to surrender their kids to foster care, it's not that they want to do it. At that point in their life, they're not able to take care of those kids. So other people have to step up for them. And I'm just thankful that we were able to be two people that could step up to take care of however many it was. And thank you all.
Thank you.
So good afternoon, everyone. You know, thank you to everybody who put this together. This is just awesome. Cheyenne, I really, really enjoyed your comments up here and on the video. Congratulations to you all, 49 years. This is awesome. This Thursday, Glenda and I will have been married 43 years, so we're kind of right on the heels. So, you know, I want to say I absolutely love this do one thing now. You got to get it right, because like right here, how can you mess it up, right? I like that, and it immediately reminds me of a quote, and I believe this quote is by Audre Lorde. It says, "I am only one, but I am one. I cannot do everything, but you know what? I can do something. And that I can do, I must do. And that I must do, I will do." One thing. I like how you all are keeping it simple. It's digestible. It doesn't overwhelm people. And virtually everybody who has spoke has just given examples of the one thing somebody can do, right? So we're absolutely honored to be recognized here today as among the many, how many did you say, Foster? 11,000. How many thousand? 11,000. 11,000 fostering families across the state. So that tells us that there's a huge need, right? And so we are just particularly honored to be here, co-laboring with all of those other folks, opening our homes, and as you said, opening our hearts as well. So I just want to say a little bit about our philosophy in fostering and make 2 or 3 quick points and then sit down. Our approach and our philosophy in fostering has been very simple. It's been to establish trust and to provide these deserving children with a safe, secure, and supportive place until they're able to find permanency, ideally in the form of a reconnection with their biological home. But as Cheyenne said, sometimes it's just simply not possible. And while in our care, we do a couple of simple things. We encourage positive personal development and emphasize attitudes and behaviors that support academic success. I worked at Cornell for 25 years in various capacities. I worked corporately for Procter & Gamble for 15 years. Education has always been incredibly important to me. And I was born in Montgomery, Alabama in 1954, grew up in Tuskegee, segregated schools. And so education, just by virtue of some of my own experiences, has just always been critical to me, and we emphasize that, and that's the kind of culture that we've supported in our home. As Frederick Douglass said, education is liberation. And so our goal has essentially been to help ensure that these children would be more resilient when they leave than they were when they came. Years ago, I started an organization in Ithaca, February of 2002. It's called the Village at Ithaca, and it takes its name from a very familiar African proverb that it takes a whole village to do what? To raise a child. And so part of being a whole village or a whole community is recognizing and actualizing and mobilizing the resources that are available in that community. And those resources are often human resources. people that's just saying there is a need out there, we have space in our home, we have love in our hearts, and we are willing to open doors to help support these children, because we want to be part of an active, vibrant, relevant village. Our philosophy is essentially, as I said, to provide the best care that we can, as consistently as we can, for as long as we can, to help that child find permanency. Now, the length of stay varies. You know, people say all the time, how long do you have these kids in your home? Well, it varies. For us, the average of the 52 plus kids that we've had has been about 14 months. It's been as few as it's been as short as a few short weeks for one child, a period of over 5 years. And so that was an anomaly. Two kids are not typically in foster care for 5 years. What happened with this particular child, and this is the youngest of the 5-person sibling group that we took. And the backstory on that is, teenagers have typically been fairly challenging to place. And so there was a group of 5 children that the Department of Social Services in Tompkins County wanted to place. And so they called Glenda and me and said, we need you all to take the older 2 children. And so I went down to DSS, it was a Wednesday afternoon, I went down to pick up the 2 older boys. Now the 2 girls had just left, the 2 younger girls, and I found, well, so they just left with a foster family, which turned out to be a short-term respite situation. And the 3-year-old was there along with the 2 teenagers that I went to pick up. And the oldest teenager, 16, was sobbing uncontrollably. He couldn't even talk, it was unintelligible. And so I said, what's going on? He is sobbing because he has been the surrogate. He's 16 years old, but he has been the surrogate because the parents, even though they were in the home, were just not in a position to do what they needed to do as parents. And so the 16-year-old was taking care of these little kids, and this 3-year-old was about to be sent somewhere else. Now he had just seen his 2 sisters taken somewhere, and so I called Glenda and said, I know I can't pick up 2. But, you know, I'm gonna bring a 3-year-old home too. And so we left DSS and we went to Burger King, Wendy's, McDonald's, somewhere, and we sitting there eating. And I said, tell me about your sisters. Well, they went with the family and they just gonna be there till the weekend. And so the wheels are now turning. And so by the end of the weekend, we had all 5. So the length of stay varies. Glenda's already talked about the one who came with us at age 10 and left at 23. Told the family court judge, the Walkers of our family now, and I want to stay with them. And I'm like, boy, foster care don't last that long. And so we worked it out, and as Glenda said, you know, through a particular set of arrangements, we became co-parents for them. I want to, and Cheyenne, your story inspires me a lot. Right? It really does. It really does, because it excites us to see some of our former foster children go out and do some pretty incredible things. And I want to tell you about, well, can I say his name? Is it okay? I shouldn't say his name? Okay. Okay, I won't say his name. Okay, I asked. Yeah. When you don't know, ask. So there's one particular foster child who, am I talking too long? No. Okay. So, you see, I'm just me. You know, if I got a question, I'm just going to ask. All right, so this one particular foster child we had, he was with us twice. So he was in high school, and you know, he had, quite frankly, had to go to Rochester, go to a rehab. And so I was driving to Rochester, visiting this company. He got out of rehab, came back with us. He ended up dropping out of high school, but he got his GED. And this young man now is a very responsible father to 5 or 6 daughters, 5 daughters. He is a small business owner. He employs people. He has 5 people working for him, one of whom is the father of that 3-year-old that came and was with us, you know, several different times. So here this young man is opening doors of opportunities for others as an entrepreneur. And one of the, whoever was crying back, y'all may join you right now. Because one of the things he says is, he said, had it not been for the time, get it together, Cal, you can do this. He said, if it hadn't been for the time that I spent in your all's home, doing things that I thought made no sense, like having dinner together, needing to be in before a certain time at night, all this stuff that I rebelled against didn't make any sense. Why y'all had making me do all this? had I not learned those disciplines, I would not be the responsible husband and father that I am today. And so, and the success of small business owners. See, those things make a difference. See, here's the thing. As foster parents, and I know y'all can relate, we may not see the fruits of our labor, of our best intentions, of our love, our patience, and all of this. We may not see it. But you know what? It's okay. It is okay. Because the results will manifest in ways down the road. And it's less important whether we are actually able to see it in real time as to know that we have invested. And what does a good investment do? It brings about a good return. And so those returns are not always visible to us immediately and in real time. But they certainly are evident along the way. So let me close by saying a couple things here. Don't you love when people say, let me say a couple things? They say like 4 things, right? So just in terms of among the motivators and inspirations for our becoming foster parents, and I'll be very candid in sharing some of this. So Ithaca is, you know, the percentage of people of color in our community is relatively low, in our county particularly. And a number of foster children, children of color, black and brown children, were going into predominantly white homes, and many of those were very rural. And let me just say, because I'm totally transparent, you know, Glenda and I have 2 beautiful white daughters-in-law. We have biracial children, so, you know, I'm not hung up on a racial thing. Say again? Biracial grandchildren, that's right. What I said, children? Yeah. Biracial grandchildren. Y'all, they knew what I meant. But here's the point. The reality is that there's some underlying tension sometimes when you go into those situations, right? Right. No judgment. I'm just being real. Y'all want me to be real, right? Yes, sir. So, I mean, you think about a child going into foster home. Number one, they are taken out. Look at the multiple disruptions. To be taken out of their home, one disruption. Taken out of their neighborhood, another disruption. Sometimes you're going to wind up being in a different school district, another disruption. And so that last thing folk going through that kind of, those kind of disruptions need is discomfort within their living environment. And so what we saw was the need for their, look, black and brown folks in this community, let's step up because there's a need. Nobody's saying categorically that a child of color shouldn't be placed in a white home or vice versa. Nobody's saying that at all. We've had white foster children. But the reality is that, that part of being a caring, committed community is understanding the needs, helping to minimize these disruptions, and that was one of the motivations for us to step up. Now I'm gonna tell you, we live in Ithaca, there's a neighboring community, which I was told by a foster parent years ago, that someone in the school district said, y'all gotta stop sending all these black children to our schools. I'm transparent. That's what they were told by an administrator in a school district. Stop sending these ghetto black children to our community. And so part of our inspiration for becoming foster parents was to model in our own community something that we want to see more. What does Gandhi say? Be the change you want to see in the world. And so that was one of the motivations for certain. And you know, one of the things I really love about the foster parenting is that part of the certification process, you got to have the credit hours. If the minimum is 9 or 12, sometimes I take 15, 16 of them because the classes are so good. And here's why I say that. To be a good, effective foster parent, this is my belief. You got to continue to have, you need a genuine and authentic commitment to continue to learn. I learned, I'm a 68-year-old man. And so we're caring for children, and so I need to read things by people that is research-based and evidence-based that help me be a better foster parent to understand a lot of things that I just don't intuitively understand. Our children today are just a very different generation than when I grew up. And if I'm going to be relevant and significant and effective, I need to understand that. And so that cultural competency, that social competency is very, very important. So I emphasize that. Now this time I'm gonna really finish. So The bottom line is that we're all connected, and I don't think anyone has ever expressed it as simply, as eloquently, as simply, and as profoundly as the English poet John Donne. And this is what he said. He said, no man, no person, no man, no woman, no child is an island unto themselves. Each is a piece of the continent, each is a part of the main. What diminishes one diminishes all, what enriches one enriches all. Why? Because we're all part of humankind. And we have a great need in this state, across this country, for opening homes, opening hearts, caring for children. And no matter what the challenges, no matter what the limitations, no matter what the obstacles, we must be committed as a state, as a nation, to meeting this continuing need. There are always things competing for our time, there are always things competing for our resources. But there's an adage that says this, and I quote it as often as I can. If it's important enough, we will find a way. And if it's not, we'll find an excuse. Thank you.
Mr. Walker, I didn't go to church yesterday, but you definitely should be there today. Thank you. I want to thank, on behalf of our office, thank you both for all that you do and for coming today. This is a blanket for, as everyone said, to pass on the warmth that you've passed on to so many others. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Oh, and a plant?
I'm gonna take care of the plant,
You
because
wanna
she
take care
does
of
not have a green thumb. She like just putting people on blast like that publicly.
So now, we have 15 minutes. So now I am going to turn it over to Commissioner Poole.
Thank you. Yes. Who is going to leave here inspired after hearing what we have heard in the past? You have all given us such a gift today by your presence, by your words, by your spirit, by your sharing your experiences with us, and I can't thank you enough. But before we conclude and leave, we have a citation for Mr. and Mrs. Walker. Come on up. Good, Lisa. Okay, so I'm gonna read it. Okay?
Yes.
All right. It says the New York State Office of Children and Family Services is pleased to recognize Cal and Glenda Walker for their many years of dedicated service to and positive, meaningful impact upon countless children and families in Tompkins County, New York. Whereas Cal and Glenda have been active members of their community in many capacities, whereas they've been certified as foster parents in the year 2000, they've worked in partnership with the Tompkins County Department of Social Services to provide care, support, and a home to children in need of placement or respite for more than 21 years. Whereas their partnership was demonstrated through mutual respect, deep listening, and a desire to find strength. Whereas they fostered 52 children and provided respite for scores more over those 21 years. They've served their community in many capacities, working to close the achievement gap for children and expanding housing opportunities for low and moderate income residents. And where they've endeavored to set a tone of partnership, love, as Lisa referenced earlier, and belonging in their home, community, and work for their entire adult lives. Therefore, I, Sheila Poole, do with great honor recognize you, Cal and Glenda Walker, for your excellence in working to better the lives of the children and families in New York. I thank you for your 22 years of remarkable service and care and love for 52 children and for the generations, right, of your positive intent that goes so far beyond. So I'm so pleased to provide you not only with your plant, but with this citation here today.
share the backpacks with you all. Thank you so much for the video and all that you've done as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
To
you.
the mic, stand up, please. Let's give them a round. And the right, yes, thank you. To Cheyenne's family, thank you. And the Walkers. And finally, to Lisa Guardiogandimu, leading our child welfare work. And to all the OCFS staff here today, stand up, all of you, heroes too. Stand up, OCFS. Thank you for your work. Great, thank you all for coming today, celebrating, right, lifting all of us up, and we're in so much need of it. And again, thank you for the privilege of coming and sharing your good work and inspiring us, right, to do all the more for our kids and families in New York. So thank you all again, congratulations. Thank you.